Hi, this is Sonia from Beta Healthcare. This is the first video of a series about working in collaborative mode. Today, I would like to take you through the different steps of a typical use case in which we are creating a new reference set. When working in collaborative mode, we are using tasks which are listed here in this view. We can take a closer look at tasks by opening the task editor. Just double-click on a task to open the editor, and we can see this one is here. The work that has to be performed is specified in this section called Task Summary. This task is a reference set authoring task for ibuprofen products. The Assignee section down here displays the different users that are involved in this task. The first user in the workflow is the project manager who creates a task and assigns it to different team members. This is what we can see here called reported by. The person who is doing the actual authoring work is shown here as the author. In our case, this would be reference set authoring, but it can be any kind of authoring. And the last person in the workflow is the reviewer who assesses the author's work. This user also has the permission to promote the work of the author or parts of the work into the main repository. Once this is done, the task is completed and the workflow is closed. Now let's go through a use case. To show the different stages of the workflow, I created 3 different accounts. Right now we're working on my account. You can see my name here. I will be the project manager in this use case. My colleague Balazs, this is his account, will be the author. And Brandon, that's his account, will be the reviewer. So I'm the project manager, so I'm going to create a task. To create a task, you just click on this button up here in the task list, and this brings up a wizard. First, you need to select what kind of authoring work you would like to do, which is called artifact type. This is down here. So you can see the different artifacts that are available. You can do SNOMED CT authoring, LOINC authoring, value domain authoring, or reference set authoring. This is what we will do today. Then we need to enter a name for our task. I will just call it create diclofenac reference set. And here I can enter a summary. I could further specify my task, but I'm just going to keep it with this here. And now we need to enter a name for the new reference set. We will just call it diclofenac and indicate what kind of type it is. So it's a simple type reference set, and the components will be SNOMED CT concepts. It would also be possible to modify an existing reference set. Then you would have to enter the name of the reference set here, but today we want to create a new one. And then go to next. On this page, we need to specify who's involved in the task. And depending on the number of team members involved, we have different scenarios. So today we will do the most simple scenario, which is just one author and one reviewer, but it's also possible to have 2 authors and 2 reviewers, and then even an adjudicator, which has the final decision. If you use the key combination Control Space, you can bring up the usernames of your team members. And I would like to specify Balazs as the author, and Brandon should be the reviewer. And now let's finish and submit the task. So the task is submitted to the task management system. In my case, this is Bugzilla. This means that all team members that are involved in this task, so in this case it would be Balazs and Brandon, would get an email notification now that I created a task that they're assigned to. So now my job as a project manager is done. Let's go to Balazs's account. He's the author, and just refresh his view. I created a query for him, and that usually automatically refreshes every minute, but you can also do this manually if you don't want to wait so long. And here, this is the task that I just created, and let's open it. We can see that this task is now assigned to the author, to Balazs, and if he wants to start working on it, all he has to do is activate the task, which is clicking this button here. Activating is quite important. When you're activating a task, you are moving to a separate branch. You can see that down here, this says create diclofenac reference set. This means Balazs is not working on main anymore. He's working on a separate branch. That's kind of like working in a separate room, because all the work that he's going to do, all the changes that he's making, are not visible to other authors, only to him and to his team members, so to Brandon and the project manager in this case. Only once the work has been promoted to main, everybody else can see it. But right now, we're working on this separate branch. And on this branch, a reference set is created, which is called diclofenac. And we can open this reference set here, and it's empty. So he doesn't have to create a reference set on his own. This is automatically part of the task activation. And I already found the part of the hierarchy that I would like to include. And now let's just add this concept and the descendants to the reference set and save the work. Okay. So this reference set has 38 members, and let's assume Balazs has finished his work and he would like to hand over the task to the reviewer. So to do this, he has to move the workflow forward. So the task status is always displayed up here, and right now it's assigned to Balazs, and he has to set it to resolve as fixed. So this means I'm finished with my work. I can hand it over to the reviewer and save the status change. Okay, and if you see here, it used to be the green dot used to be at the author. Now the green dot is at the reviewer. So the green dot always shows who is in charge of the task right now. So now let's go to Brandon's account, and here's the task. And Brandon is the reviewer, so if he's ready to start his work, he would also again activate the task. And then there is a second tab on the task editor, which is called Review. So this tab is available for the author and the project manager as well. So you can always review the work that was done on that particular branch. And now Brandon can see all the concepts that Balazs added to the reference set, and he can decide if he wants to accept a concept as part of the reference set or deny it. You can either do this manually, or you can just accept the whole batch. But let's just deny two of them here. And it's also possible to enter a comment for denial. And once he's done with the review, he would save his work again and then move the workflow forward by saying, okay, I'm done. This task is now verified, and save the task status. So you always have to save it, because otherwise, as soon as you change this, it would move the workflow and you might not want to do it. So this is just to make sure you really indeed want to hand it over. So now this is the very last part of the workflow. Since Brandon is the reviewer, he can now decide that this work can be promoted to main. And to do this, all he has to do is press this promote button. This was not enabled before, so you always have to set the task state to verified. All of the members have to be either accepted or denied. You have to make sure that you don't forget one. And once this is done, then you can promote it. And while we're promoting, look, we're still working on the branch. We will move to main. So this means that the reference set now will be available for everybody. So now there is no task activated anymore. Here, so now we're on main, and the reference set is on main. And let's just find it. Here it is. Open it. And you remember that we denied 2 of the reference set members. So Balazs originally had 38 reference set members, 2 were denied, and only the ones that Brandon actually accepted were promoted to main. Okay, so that's all I wanted to show you for today. I hope you enjoyed this introduction. There will be more videos about collaborative authoring. Thank you very much for your attention. Bye-bye.